What's going on, guys? So today on this Shoky review, we're going to take a look at this awesome HG P-BANDAI GJALLARHORN ARIANRHOD Fleet Complete Set. And of course, if you guys have been watching me do on the live stream builds, which I'll link up here, you've seen me kind of pretty much complete this for the most part. So I like these sets, but man, they are expensive. Even though I got this thing mildly discounted, it still cost me over $100 total. But you do get 4 kits in it. So you've got EOX Graze, you've got the updated Regional Julia, and you get 2 Dine-Slave Grazes, which is, I think, the main draw for this kit, and in fact is what brought me to it in the first place. Of course, being P-BANDAI, we get the solid monotone colors, kind of a greenish, bluish color. So it is what it is. You got the IBO logo here, HG IBO stuff there. Very long name down here at the bottom. And because it's IBO, or it's P-BANDAI, I'm sorry, you don't get a whole lot around the box. You do get Gundam info there. You got Bandai there. You've got all the normal stuff here. All the stuff here. BandaiHobby.net. That is funny. I never realized that one side says BandaiHobby.net, the other side is Gundam info. That's funny. And then GJALLARHORN Fleet Set. Then you've got all the warnings right there. Must be 18 years old to stick this in a 3-year-old's eye. That sounded terrible. And then 60,000 yen. 6,000 yen. So roughly 60 bucks over there. Over here, it's minimum 75. And then plus shipping, I paid over 100. So I mean, it's still a good deal because most online retailers are charging minimum 100 for this set. So 25 bucks a kit. And I will say that at least the Regional Julia being a much larger kit, that's a little bit better. The Dying Slaves are brand new, but 25 bucks for pretty much a standard Graze is a little bit much, but you know, you guys know me. I'm going to buy it. It's IBO, it's P-BANDAI. So let's go ahead and get these out here and take a look at them. And once again, if you want to watch the build videos, by chance, go ahead. They'll be up here since there's not going to be a build montage. Alright guys, here we have the ARIANRHOD Fleet Set out and done. And like I said, if you watch the live streams, you saw me pretty much put most of these together, though I think I only ever accomplished this one for the most part on a single live stream. I don't even think I finished this guy in a single live stream on the first go. So we have EOX Graze. Let's turn this down just a little bit. We've got the mildly updated Regional Julia. And then, of course, the 2 Dine-Slave Grazes. And I did things a little bit different, like just ever so mildly, because of extra option parts that either came with this set or something that came from the other option parts set. So I'll go over each kit individually. I'll try to make it fairly quick because we have looked at most of these things repeatedly. So God knows how many Grazes I've looked at this point, and obviously we've seen this girl before, so very mild changes. So we'll start off with the Idjit Graze down here. I gotta laugh at that. And starting off with the EOX Graze, it's actually pretty simple. It's, for the most part, just a straight up Graze in EOX colors, because he likes the brown and the yellow. Now, I don't remember if that's actually like the Kujun family colors or whatever, but I assume that it is. As a Graze, it is what it is. The main difference here is the knee change. So if you guys remember on the live stream, or if you missed it, I tried to paint these things. Actually, I didn't do it on camera. I did it off, and it failed miserably. So I ended up using the actual stickers that came with it. And honestly, they're not terrible stickers. Getting the placement right on the first go is a little bit difficult, but you know, that is kind of what it is. Now, I do have the ground type Grazes that I need to build as well, and I think that they have a similar setup here, but I could be wrong. I'm sure that Super Droid will definitely correct me on that. I know he said something about it. But for the most part, it is a Graze. You even get the standard Graze rifle. However, one main difference is the ground type backpack. And the one that came with the set was all the frame gray right here, but because I had the one left over from the option parts set, which actually very closely matches this brown, it's actually just that dark gray that they go with, that colorless gray. I actually stuck that on here. I think it looks better, especially with the gray bar for holding the sword. Of course, this is the sword that came with this guy, and yes, he does actually use this in the series, so I kind of dig that. No, that ain't gonna work. I'm gonna put it in his hand the hard way. And actually, this is the first time I've ever used one of these swords, because for the most part, I don't think I ever have. The only one I've gotten was with the option parts set, and I don't think I've ever even given it to anybody. I think it's just laying around. And it's a neat sword. The ground type sword is actually pretty cool. And we only see it in very, very few uses in the series. Now, I could definitely go ahead and add a little bit of paint to it, a little bit of silver on the blade, but I kind of like the idea that for the most part they leave things just bare metal because it just makes sense. I could go ahead, I might throw some gray on the handle just to knock it out a little, but I do dig it. I like the yellows, though actually the yellow visor sticker kind of right there just blends in, even though it's two very, very different yellows. Articulation is going to be exactly the same as all Grazes, so I'm not going to bother showing that off. But I will, however, compare it to the previous Eox suit we have seen. So, of course, it's all molded in the exact same colors. Though, mind you, his Region Lays was very much trashed after the fight with the mobile armor. So I think that's why he switched over to the Graze. And honestly, I dig it. I like these two as a set together. You get the Commander Fin for both. He no longer has his really cool railgun, and because he's going into this final battle with a little bit of stupidity in his head, which, you know, is saying a lot for Yuck, he goes in with just a Graze. So, and like I said, I didn't recall him going into battle with this, but it was before the absolute final battle. He went in when, apparently when Bael was leaving the Tekadon base. So that's why I didn't recall it happening, because he's in a standard, almost like a shield Graze, or just a regular Arianrhod, or yeah, is it the Arianrhod fleet? Either way, he's in one of the Mars fleet Grazes at the end whenever he finally gets killed. But I like these two as a set. It's actually pretty cool. It's nice to get a Graze from Eoc. And next up is, of course, the Demon Slayer herself. So you get the Region Lace Julieta's final mobile suit in the series, at least that we see. And yeah, it's 99% the same kit that we did before. And you guys know I really liked it, especially in comparison to the regular Region Lace. Now, this one does actually come with the extension for the stand. And by the way, I didn't mention it, but the kit comes with 3 stands for this. So you can either use 1 for her and then 2 for the Dying Slaves, or however you want to organize it. However, it came with 4 kits and only 3 stands. You do the math on trying to figure out why that is. I don't know. But for the most part, she fights a ground battle in this mode. So personally, I really want her to be in her ground type mode. So I gave her the ground type, or the ground feet, or the exposed feet, I should say. Because this thing always had feet in its, or hidden in its main legs, and then it has the sub legs out back like that. And that's how she went into battle. So the final ground battle came out that way. Now the main differences is, of course, the sword here, which is clearly based on something. I don't know. They took some of the cues from her original Julia swords, which this thing does come with. You just don't use them. So now I have a spare set of swords, which I might actually adapt to my original one. I did do a couple things. Of course, I painted the end of this yellow. Actually, let me pull it out of the hand right quick. It's actually a very tight fit, which is good. And you do go back to using the original Region Lays hand, which you guys know I feel is one of the weak points of the Region Lays. Sword is pretty neat, actually very much a 00 type weapon in my opinion. Looks like something from the Exia, like just very much so. And you do get stickers for this, but I went ahead and painted it. I think it actually came out very nice. I did miss that edge a little bit, so maybe I'll touch that up later. Looks really good, and like I said, if you want, you can totally add the Julia swords to the sides. They're still capable of doing that. One difference I did do was paint this part of the crest, or the horns, gray, just because. Everything else I did almost identical to the first run, so added the gray to the parts here on the thrusters. Sorry, it's focusing on my thumb. So I did that here, painted that on there. I did not do it back here like I did on the first one, but that really doesn't matter. But you do also get the kind of multi-weapon thingy here. So it's both a shield, you got some blades, and there's some Vulcans underneath. And one thing that's really neat is this plugs directly in to the wrist peg. So this actually completely replaces the left hand. And I dig that. So you got the weapons underneath and all that stuff. Now, it does have the kind of... I don't know if I can get it out of here now. But it's got the grappling weapon from the original Region Lace, the one that came off the little spiky thingies. However, she doesn't come with the wire for it, but you can use the wire, I believe, from the Region Lace that it did have. I don't feel like pulling all that out, to be totally honest. I don't really dig the gimmick. I think it's silly. However, you can totally do it. But this, obviously, if you were watching the live stream, you have to put these stickers on. I think that came out very well. I had to finagle, I don't remember which side it was. One of the sides was off by just a little bit. I did have to finagle that before the final construction. I think that sticker is actually fairly well engineered compared to some of the other ones in the line. And I dig the weapon entirely. But this will allow you to actually get a real final battle between the Julia and the Barbatos, and the sword plowing through Barbatos's body and head. And like I said, you can see the gold paint for all the thrusters, because like I said, I wanted to keep it similar so it looks like they were the same thing. Now here is the original one, just so you can see. They're the exact same. Everything, the colors are the same. There was no difference. Now, I have said that I would like a little bit more blue in there, a little lighter blue. I think it would just make it look more accurate. But hey, if you're up for painting it, go right ahead. But I want to keep this one in the kind of space mode and this one in the ground mode, just for that purpose. I think that looks pretty good. Let's get a picture of that. Nice. So I enjoyed this one. And actually, this was one of the faster builds since I had to do the least amount of stuff to it. But let's go ahead and move on. And now, guys, we get to the final party piece of this set, and it is the Dainsleif Grazes. And I love the fact they give you two. And I'm going to be honest, if they come out with a separate 2-pack for this, I'm probably going to buy a couple of them. Because I have an idea in mind that I really, really want to do, and I need a couple more of these Dainsleifs, and I'm not about to take apart the ones I just did to make it happen. So, Bandai, make that happen, please. By the end of the year, I will buy them. So, you do get new Grazes, and you do get them in a new color, as far as I know. I don't believe there was a ground-type variant like this, although apparently there was a prototype image that Super Droid shared with me the other day that did show a very, very similar color scheme for a ground-type Graze in these colors. And I guess you could sort of make that happen. Though I believe these brownish parts were a little bit more maroon. Now, I did these in 2 different styles just for fun. So this is the... Oops, I kicked the tripod. This is the normal space type variant that we had in the series, and as you saw. And I did this one is as if there was a ground type version. So because you get so many option parts, you get a full ground type set of feet. However, I used the option parts set to get the dark color that matches all of this. And then this tan paint, which actually looks much better on camera than it does in real life. This is the same khaki-ish tan paint that I used for the drum up here. Now, a little behind the scenes thing, if you didn't watch my vlogs, I did bring the whole sticker sheet with me to Hobbytown, and I went paint hunting to try to match this orange, well, I guess technically this orange, and then this tan for the stickers. I already had the gray, so I wasn't worried about that, but because this had to be gray, this had to be orange, this had to be orange, and then incidentally, the tan down here on the foot worked out in my favor. But these things required a buttload of paint and would require a buttload of stickers. Now, I'll go over them individually so we can look at this. I'll set this one aside because we can just look at that one in a minute. But the actual Dainsleif itself completely replaces the left arm. I totally didn't catch that in the series. Now looking at it up close, you'll see a difference between this one and that one, which is pretty obvious. These stripes are not painted in. So I wanted to leave one with a clean-ish kind of variant and one that was a lot darker. Plus that one's extremely rough. This part I didn't need to paint, but to make it match I did, and you can see I didn't panel line it. I didn't do anything because it's really hard to panel line once something is painted, which is why that resulted in that over there. Now on this side you can see the orange paint ended up bubbling a lot on me. I might have to just go through and clean this off and start it over. Now the gray around here, you can see a little bit of slop from the tan. It happens. Same thing on the end cap here. When I first painted them, I set it upright to dry and it got stuck to the paper and took a little bit of the instruction sheet with it when I removed it. You got panel line all here on the orange bits. This part does flip out and you got the handle on the inside. That's pretty neat. Now these sections, anywhere that's painted a dark gray on here, this is just extra. This should all be something like a dark maroonish brown. I don't have anything in that color scheme, but all of the stock images of this kit show it being that color. They don't give you stickers for it. They don't give you anything. They just leave it alone in this big basic red form. Now you do get the actual spear from the Dying Slave, and you can, well, as I said you could, oh, okay, that one still has a decent nub on it. That's why you can't pull it through. So it's big. So I mean, they really got the scale. So if one were so inclined, you could actually go ahead and jam one of these through your Gundam. Now, I'll just talk about the physics of it real quick. This thing, depending on what it was made out of, unless it was made of nano-laminate armor or materials, probably would have just burned up in the atmosphere. Although moving at the speed that it was, being launched through the atmosphere would probably, I don't know. You guys let me know. I mean, the surface area is small enough, it might not have burned up. But a very similar weapon to this has been devised in actual reality using, I think, a giant tungsten rod. But it would impact the surface of the planet with something like a nuclear explosion, but without any radiation. So you guys let me know, would this thing burn up in atmosphere or not? Not the whole thing, just the rod. But I like it. It's a really cool design. A lot of people design their own, including Super Droid did. He made his own, 3D printed it off what he could see from a screen image. And you've got two different modes. You have the compact mode and then you have the full expanded mode. I'm going to leave one compacted. Basically, you pull it apart. Well, not like that. Obviously, this is stuck a little bit. That wasn't supposed to come off. This does, and you can see the little L shape or 7-shaped tab there, and you just drop it down. You line it up on the slot inside there as best you can, because it is silly like that. I wish they'd put it on a simple hinge, honestly, but that's pretty neat. And you definitely don't have to add the extra gray paint that I did, like right along here or here, but the tip does need to be painted a little bit. There should be a little bit of friction to hold the rod in place. So I wish it was actually spring-loaded. I think that would be a lot of fun. Now, real quick, we'll take a look at the Graze itself, because there are some new updates to it, including the eye/scope. I got to get the camera a little closer, I think, to make this happen. Come on down, light. It's always not fun trying to get this. So you have the zoom-in scope eye. Personally, I think that should be significantly larger and protrude a little bit more, but I like the fact they did give us an updated version. Like I said, I did this one as a commander variant just because. There's no real rhyme or reason other than I was given extra parts and I used them. And of course the ground type feet are the only thing that's very different, and we'll explore that a little bit more when I get to the actual ground type. Here you can see the color differential. Now the little backpack chunk here is one of the other differences, and I already sort of looked at it. So you would need to apply a sticker here. Actually, the inside you might not have to. I have this on? Yeah, okay, so sticker here, sticker around the outside, orange stickers all along here. And yeah, my paint job isn't perfect. Once again, that orange was bubbling up on me. This side came out okay. This side was bubbly. That's what I get for shaking it up so much. These uprights right here that plug into the actual reactors should also be that dark maroonish brown color that I was talking about. So it should be similar to this color, but a bit more red. So somewhere in there. If you can make that custom color, just mix it up yourself, go for it, because that's what it should be. This should be gray, though. I don't know why this is, like, slotted. It's kind of hard to see, but it's there. You do get these extended power sections also coming from the reactors, so I do dig that. I love a good Graze variant. Now, one thing I wanted to see, and I know it can do it, I just want to see it. You can make a right-handed variant. So maybe I'll actually switch this up and build the left arm as well, so really change it up. Just for the collection's sake. I don't know. You guys let me know. What should I do with that? Also, there's another thing that is totally missing from this. So for anybody who really paid attention to the scenes, or if you just looked at the still images, there's another part that should be popped up right through here. And then this whole section back here should have the ability to slide in, because that's how it fires. Like, this is the big electromagnetic drum. The thing is loaded, it's being held in place here, but it needs to be able to kick forward. So all of this will shoot forward with electricity coming off of it and shoot it out magnetically. That's one of the few things I think that is truly missing from this set. And, well, we'll never get it there. But if you are designing your own, definitely include those bits that are missing. I've got little fluff here. And as previously mentioned, you do get extra stands with this. How does so much dust get accumulated? Like, maybe I need to change out my air filter or something. Alright, so this version is, of course, the standard way you should do it out of the box. And you can see the slight differences here in the actual drum. Went ahead and hit this. This was a result of trying to panel line it, screwing up, and then just covering it over with paint. And like I said, I might leave that one alone, or I might actually go ahead and do it again just to make it cleaner. This part right here did come out cleaner, so I did this one second. And I barely panel lined. See if I can see it. The inside came out a little bit nicer. Same thing over here. Too bad that drum only goes on one way. I would love to rotate it and clean it up. But these are fun. And something that Droid has definitely been pointing out, we need the, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Herlick Graze, the one that actually accompanies these and helps load them. So that's one thing we're missing. So we might have to get that set later on, because that would technically complete this set, unlike these. So these guys are just floating out there, and they need somebody to load their ammo. They don't have it. But guys, that's going to be it for this review of the Arianrhod fleet set. If you dig this set, or if you're just flat out jealous and you wish you had it, let me know down below. If you have it and you've encountered similar problems to me, or if you have other ideas of what to do with it, let me know down below as well. And of course, as always, I want to thank my patrons, John, Andy, Steve, and Colby. And if you're interested in becoming a patroneer, right here on the screen. And if you want to help support the channel a little bit more, but also help a good cause, you can buy any of the Shoky shirts right here. Because, like I said, between now and the end of May, because of just the way things worked out, everything goes to the Lupus for Lupus charity, which will also be in the card up above. But I will catch you guys on the next review, and remember, as always, to keep on building.